Greetings, all. My name is Mikhail Voin, and this is my colleague, George Michaelopoulos, and this is Hegemonix. And we are here uh, as warriors. I say that lightheartedly in one sense and seriously in another. We're polemical warriors. We don't take up weapons and actually go after the enemy yet.
Yeah, put that in there. Yeah,
But we think what we do is important nonetheless because the spirit of what's happening is there's no battle without spirit behind it. So we try to do what we can. And a couple of weeks ago, George sent me something about possible shows, and top of the list was one about evaluating Trump's presidency. And I thought that was an excellent idea. If you're going to look at things, looking at one of the commanders of one of the commander in chief of one of the forces is probably one of the best ways to spend at least one show. And so I think that's what we're going to focus on today. I don't want to necessarily, I mean, I'm not going to give him an A or B or C or whatever, one, two, three, four, five. But, be more, what I'm going to do is, and I think what George is free to give him a letter grade or number grade if he wants to. But I kind of want to go more into details of what, he's done and how that relates to the Eurasian Alliance, which is our side in the Great War. I try to stay on the side of God, and I
yeah,
assume that God is on the side of whoever is defending and advancing Christian values. And you say that with humility. Uh, Whenever you say God is with us, you say that with humility because God can pull the rug right out from under you if you engage in hubris.
right.
But nonetheless, I feel that's where we are, and I think George feels more or less the same way, and that's why we changed the name of the program to Hegemonix Warfront, in keeping with Patriarch Kirill's uh, comments about it being the holy war against the diabolical forces in the West. And so we're going to go and crawl up in the Golden Dawn with a fine tooth comb. And thought we'd start off, you know, honestly, well, if you look at it from our perspective, and I'm talking about the Eurasian Alliance, because we're not saying, is he a great American commander in chief in the sense of American number one, rah, 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 that kind of thing. What we're evaluating is how well does his policy mesh with the goals of the uh, the Eurasian Alliance, multipolarity, the new way of doing things that is replacing American unipolar hegemony. So it will sound strange to people who get their news from Fox News,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
we're traitors or subversives.
Oh
And from that
God, don't
perspective,
even get me
we are
started.
subversives. It's not
Uh,
unapologetic subversives. Uh, and so, but and I'll bounce it over to George here with this thought. Um, Trump is not a Manchurian candidate, and I hope you all understand what a Manchurian candidate is. It's somebody who's been placed by a foreign power in to do their bidding into
mhm.
the political system. Trump is not a Manchurian candidate, although he's been accused of being a Manchurian candidate, a puppet of the Russians. Uh, falsely. I don't think that they would ever pick somebody like Trump to be an agent.
No,
He's a
no.
wild card, loose cannon. You just can't. It's absurd, really. But I don't know that he would be doing anything terribly different um, from what he's doing in Ukraine or Iran if he were an agent trying to screw things up for the neocons and for Western hegemony. Because whatever you say about him, uh, Russians are advancing in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Ukrainians aren't really getting that much help except through Europe. With we're not giving them weapons directly; that we're making them Europeans buy them, which is actually strange because the Europeans don't have any money really anyway because of their policies that are draining their economies.
Hmm.
Iran, we've actually, in effect, lifted Iran to hegemony in the Middle East by
Yes,
what
we
is
have.
happening. And
Yes, we
so
have.
um, I'm not sure. I mean, I have to give him, it's paradoxical because I'm not saying he's doing a good job from uh, an objective, dispassionate point of view. From an impassioned, subjective point of view, the Eurasian alliance perspective, I'm saying, you know, I, let the big dog run. That's my attitude towards it. And what are your thoughts on this, George?
Well, in studying history, and especially war, military actions, things don't always work out the way you want them to, for what your stated objectives were. For instance, Churchill hated socialism. I got to give him that. He really hated socialism, and he hated Hitler because Hitler was a National Socialist. Now, there were other backers behind Churchill, but he, uh, he got America involved in the war. What he didn't realize is that FDR let it be known that uh, Britain was not going to have an empire after the war was over. And it took about a good 10 years, but sure enough, even though Britain won the war, they lost the empire. Even though we won the war, we went down this liberal path because we were looking over our shoulders at the Soviets, who were saying, "Well, we're a racist state," and so we, in our academy, our universities, our entertainment industry, which were pretty much heavily communist infiltrated, um, caused us to lose our American patrimony. I think uh, it's just an example here. Okay, as far as the Iran war is concerned, of course I wrote on Helleniscope what my thoughts on that were, and how, and they've perfectly aligned with Charlie Kirk. Don't go to war with Iran. Uh, and I and, and I do think that's why Charlie Kirk was assassinated. By the way, okay, there's enough uh, circumstantial evidence in that regard. So yeah, what am I trying to say? Now, we shouldn't have gone to war with Iran. Having said that, it hasn't worked out well for the neocons. Uh, Israel has been pounded. It's losing significant parts of their population. Iran is hurting economically and has been hurting economically for quite a while, but they look like they won or they're winning. If by winning you mean that they've stood up to us and they're still in the fight. Was that planned on our end? I don't think so, but that's what's happening. So, I mean, I I don't know what else to say about that. I think Iran is, and I said this last month in that piece I wrote for Helleniscope, that Iran will be the hegemon there, and that eventually we will work out some kind of a modus vivendi as far as the Strait of Hormuz is concerned. And we will pull out of some of our bases. I mean, I think it was Secretary of Defense or War Hegseth said that, or some general recently said that we don't have the missiles to defend um, our allies there, and they're being depleted. So, I think Trump will. I I'm hoping, but I can see a trajectory, and Trump declares victory and goes home.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, there are two possibilities that I see. I'm 6 to 5, and you pick them on which one's going to happen. One is what you just said, that reality has sunk in. He knows that there's no way he can defeat Iran, regardless of all the barking and stuff that's happening. Iran can do too much damage in retaliation during the offensive operations of the United States. That it's unacceptable damage as far as the West is concerned, as far as the Gulf allies are concerned, and that he's just having to stand down. And he's going to make it look, he's going to put lipstick on the pig and make it look as best he can, but that's just what he has to do. Circumstances have forced it. The alternative is that he's just standing down and building missiles and building whatever else he needs, trying to build up the United States military to go another day. And 6 months from now, we may be in the same boat as we are right now. I keep both of those possibilities open because you never know. But the neocon lobby is very strong. AIPAC is strong. Israel is uber strong. And for some morbid reason, the Israelis want this war, even though they can do math just as well as you and I can. And they ought to know that there's nothing good down this road for Israel. Nothing at all. There's nothing really the United States can do to Iran. At first, it was the nuclear program that they were concerned with. And that the Iranians have resisted the notion that they're wanting to develop nuclear weapons for the longest time. And they've been willing to engage in whatever agreements are necessary to try to convince the West and Israel that they're not interested in developing nuclear weapons. Now, they may already have them. I think they're good enough at hiding things that they may already have them to some extent. God knows they have the delivery systems already to be able to put them wherever they want to. But that being said, the focus changed to the missiles. It's not hard to, figure out why. Tel Aviv and all these places took poundings, merciless poundings, from the drones and missiles from Iran during the last several conflicts that broke out, and people were basically living in shelters for
Hmm.
weeks on end.
Hmm.
And so they want to do something about the missiles. Well, the problem is that the missiles are underground, and these big underground cities that the Iranians built just for this reason. It dawned, I had an inkling of this when Hezbollah, when it turned out early on in the conflict uh, after October 7th, when it turned out that all their stuff was uh, underground, and then it was hard for the Israelis to get a hold of it because somebody told them to do that, and that somebody had to be Iran, as far as I was concerned. And what that meant before all this started, what that meant was to me that everything that Iran had was probably underground as well. And so that my mind didn't really run with it at that time, but that's what we're looking at right now. And it makes them pretty much impervious to. I did the research about Pickaxe Mountain and the other places where they're ingenious. They built these labs and places to develop these weapons hundreds of meters underneath a mountain that's like a kilometer high, so that you can't get at it. It has vents, but they wind around because they're not going to build a vent that goes directly into the kitty. Um, and so there's just not really. I mean, you would have to pound away with nuclear weapons for weeks to get down there because
Hmm.
people don't realize this, but even a 20 megaton, the big boys that we drop on would drop on a city killer.
Hmm.
Uh, they only they only dig like 60 to 80 meters deep. Most of their force disperses, sideways. It doesn't go straight down. So we could be pounding that, for basically the long and short. I don't want to take too much time on this. Is you can't get to these things. Uh, you could even try to drill sideways in, but there's no way to keep the tunnel.
Right, right.
You know, so there's just no way to get it.
Yeah, I mean, I just heard today that Trump is rather upset at some of the people around him. He's looking for a way out. To me, I believe that because when he came up with the memorandum of understanding last month, it's like, okay, yeah, this is it was wise to come up with that, and it's a way to off ramp here, and in other words, declare victory.
Yeah,
Um, uh, I wish it would have stayed in place, but
yeah,
it didn't for whatever reason, and we could speculate all day long as to why it didn't. But I fervently believe that he feels like he was betrayed again by the neocons. Um, you know, to be honest with you, I'm just going to come right out and say it. I don't think he could have avoided this. And I will say this, even if Kamala had won, we'd be right here again. Uh,
oh,
all yeah,
yeah,
and in a worse place economically
and
and
every
everything else.
aspect.
Um, th- there just looking at the history of the Democrat Party, there's only been two presidents since the war between the states, two Democrat presidents that actively tried to keep us out of war, and that first one was Grover Cleveland, and the other one was John Kennedy.
Mm-hmm.
Every other Democrat president, especially, has gotten us into a war, and I'm and if you talk about those presidents who ran on specifically saying, I will not get our boys involved in a foreign war, well, that first one was Woodrow Wilson. Then there was FDR. Then there was LBJ.
Not
Okay.
a great track record.
Now,
Yeah.
now, Harry Truman did not run on that platform. Harry Truman became president because FDR died, but he did take us into Korea. Okay. Um, Jimmy Carter, man, okay, I'll I'll grant him some slack, although I think he created this mess we're in now because he would support the Shah. Um, but even Bill Clinton got us involved in bombing Serbia.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had some boots on the ground there, and then there was Barack Obama.
Yeah.
He
He struck
he
every. Yeah.
he got us into 7 wars.
Yeah.
And then there was Joe Biden. Um, he got us out of Afghanistan, but in a very humiliating way. And then he didn't do anything to stop the Israelis from doing what they're doing. The genocide happened under his watch. Trump
Yeah.
at least stopped 7 wars, brought a cessation of hostilities in Gaza.
Mm.
Um, if if he had kept that record up, I think he'd be sitting very pretty right now, and so would the Republican Party. So what I'm saying in a very roundabout way is for all those people in MAGA, me and myself included, America Firsters, myself included, who are very, very upset with Trump, and I'm disappointed. Okay. Uh, you know, America is a hegemonic power, and we're addicted to war. We're addicted to foreign interventionism, and it has been that way um, since McKinley. Okay, although
Long. Yeah.
okay, so and we can all one has to do is go back and listen to Eisenhower's farewell address, which he talked about the military-industrial complex, which he wanted to call the military-industrial congressional complex, but that was too mouthy. And
That's more accurate, though. That's
you
true.
know, so you know, Democrats usually get us into wars. Republicans usually get us out.
That's
Okay,
fun.
that's the long and short of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're here. Trump was somehow forced into this. Marco Rubio admitted as much. And who knows? I mean, Trump has had several assassination attempts against him. And he has, 11 grandchildren, 5 children.
Yeah.
You know,
He's vulnerable.
he's
Yeah.
vulnerable. I mean, Kennedy was a playboy. He was a darling of the oligarchy. His father was an oligarch. Okay, but the oligarchy took him out when he let it be known he was going to pull out of Vietnam. No, when he let it be known when he let it be known that he was forcing the Israelis to allow American inspectors to come and inspect the Dimona nuclear power plant.
Yeah. Yeah. We've had a long, troublesome experience with the Zionist ST.
Yeah,
It's and this war, there would never have been an Iran war without the Israelis. There's no
yeah,
there's no justification or
yeah.
uh, impetus for this thing whatsoever other than Netanyahu and the Good Party,
Yeah.
keeping them in power and keeping him out of jail and avoiding calling elections due to war. And that's another reason why I'm skeptical of whether peace will prevail in
Yeah.
this. If it's not Iran, it'll probably be Turkey.
Well,
uh,
the Israelis have already telegraphed that their next victim is going to be Turkey.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, and unfortunately, they're they're dangling carrots in front of the Greeks to to
yeah.
get them involved in it. Now, whether the Greeks will take the bait or not, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious as to all this speculation about getting America. I don't want to get really into this rabbit hole, but getting America out of NATO in order to be able to support the Greeks against Turks in some kind of coming, or support Israel against the Turks in
Mhm.
some kind of oncoming warfare. I think they want to do it. They're drawing blanks as far as Iran is concerned, but the blueprint is the Greater Israel,
Right.
and Turkey's part of that. And so, if they're not doing it in one direction, they're going to do it in another direction. So they just need to keep pushing somehow.
Well,
That's their idea.
interestingly enough, 2.5 weeks ago, Trump was in Ankara for a NATO summit, and he just blew kisses to Erdogan. He lifted sanctions against him, and he says, "Yeah, we're going to sell you the F-35s."
Mm. And it'd be nice if Trump turned on Israel.
Well,
It would.
he- again, I have to say that there's no American president because of the strength of the Zionist lobby, and I don't say Jewish lobby, I say the Zionist lobby, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. But there's no American president, even if Ro Khanna was elected or Mamdani was elected president, is going to turn on Israel. They can't.
Yeah.
They've they've got us by the balls. Now, why do I say Zionist? Because for every Jew who's a Zionist, there are 9 Gentiles who are Zionists. Okay, and they control the Republican Party. Okay, it's I mean, I I think 80% of American Jews are horrified by what's going on, and they don't like the fact that APAC has this stranglehold over America. That's my opinion. Um, so, I mean, I but so the only hope that I see is that is Israel will continue to be, well, it already is the pariah state, and pretty much every nation on earth can't stand them.
Yeah.
And even in America, I mean, the Democrat Party now is the anti-Israel party, and as far as Republicans are concerned, anybody under the age of 45 is like, I'm out of here. Okay,
Yeah. It's turning.
it's just boomers who watch Fox News and get their talking points from an idiot like Sean Hannity. Um, and well, we're aging out. So again, I just don't think the long-term prospects for Israel are all that good. I just don't. I think they know that too, so they're just putting the pedal to the metal and just going all out and seeing what they can do. The whole Greater Israel Project, uh, this thing that's been going on in Morocco with that Soweto city
Yeah.
that belongs to Spain.
Yeah.
Uh, this was worked out in tandem with Israel and Morocco.
Yeah. I saw that. Yeah.
So
That's another really nasty
and and and
point there.
and you can say, well, Soweto, what is that? Well, if it comes under Israeli control, then they have control over the Strait of Gibraltar because they They just do. So anyway,
Yeah. So I thought we'd talk about Trump's policy in Ukraine.
yeah,
For early minutes, we've been focusing on Iran for a while. It's gone at least into a lull,
yeah,
maybe it's shut down. But it occurred to me a few minutes ago, and I don't want to set off fireworks or anything like that, but I think my sense is, regardless of what happens, Israel's doomed. And the reason I say that is um, Iran seems to be, regardless of what anyone else wants, seems to be the hegemon in the region.
right,
The Jews in Israel will never accept that fact. It's a thorn in their side, a burr under their saddle. It will drive them nuts from now until the end of time.
right,
If they stay in uh, the Jewish state in Israel.
right.
Now, the Iranians, so they're going to keep taking shots at the Iranians. They don't have any choice um, because of their hubris. They have to attack the Iranians, whether it's through the United States or through assassinations or whatever it means. They have to show the Iranians who's boss in the region one way or another. They can't help it because of the way that they're constituted, uh, psychological.
Yeah,
And
I agree. There's a psychosis here. It's just a mass psychosis. And if I may interrupt, J.D. Vance a couple of weeks ago said specifically about the Israelis, you can't kill your way out of every problem you have.
yeah,
That's not necessarily
yeah,
a word for word quote, but and I thought, wow, this is how the United States is going to disassociate itself from Israel and the entire Zionist lobby by having high profile office holders say this and break the spell.
yeah,
Again, it's going to take years, but
yeah, yeah,
it's important that he said it.
yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, they're murderers either. That's all you
Yeah,
can really say.
I mean,
I mean, I don't want to tar all Jews everywhere with that, but they've got over 70% support among Jews, in the
yeah,
world.
yeah.
And it's just, there's some kind of psychological anomaly that's taken over where there's no Christ. That's, you know,
There you
easy to
go.
believe for the devil to take up. Um, so we're talking about how's Trump doing, and moved over to Ukraine.
Uh,
Um, he at first when he came in, he was kind of like, I just don't want to deal with Ukraine. I want to walk
no,
away. I want to, what I'm going to do. And the level of support for that was of munitions sent over there steadily decreased. The Congress
uh-huh,
didn't like it. They kept voting to send more weapons over there, but
uh-huh,
Trump wasn't really interested in doing that. And finally got it down to the point where uh, he seemed to have satisfied most everybody
uh-huh.
by saying, let the Europeans do it. We'll turn it over to Europe. This is their
Right,
fault. And we'll sell whatever weapons uh, that they want to buy and give to Ukraine. That was ingenious because this is all the military industrial complex. And that kind of undercut the Israeli lobby in a way because it wasn't, or not Israeli lobby, it undercut the Ukrainian direct Ukrainian support
hmm,
in a way because really uh, it just laid out bare what the dynamic was.
Mhm.
It's always about the weapons. It's never been
Yeah.
about, the warmongering isn't about democracy. It's not about human rights.
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
it's imperial. And
Uh,
so they did that for a while. And, but recently, and Russia kept advancing slowly, too slowly in my opinion, but still, that's what they decided. I'm not going to criticize them too much because they're winning. They're losing less troops than they otherwise would.
uh,
It annoys the hell out of their enemies, which
uh,
that's fine. It's always a good thing. Um, at the same time, it looked like Trump was going to change gears, and there was a lot of this emphasis on trying to strike into Russia itself,
right.
uh, into not just the four oblasts in Crimea, but to strike into refineries in different places inside Russia proper in order to bring the war to the Russian people, as they would
Right.
say, as what Rubio would say. This didn't go over too well in Russia, and they seem to have. I'm skeptical, like our friend Jim Jatras is, about any great transformation in the Russian psyche or in Putin's psyche as to ramping things up. But it seems like there's been at least an uptick of one or two on the war dial uh, since the strikes into Russia have started again. Because this happened before at the end of Biden's presidency, but the Russians just waited it out because they knew he wasn't going to be there that long, and that Trump had an
Mhm.
opposite policy. Um, so now that they're doing it again, um, Russia's had these conversations with people, putting people out in the press about, well, maybe we need to strike someplace in Europe that's doing these
Right.
manufacturing of these weapon systems that are being used to strike. I believe that some of what Russia's doing isn't being advertised. For
Yeah.
example, that explosion in Essex, where the facility that manufactured weapons or drones or whatever it was, a mysterious fire started in their explosions and black smoke in the sky and all that.
Mhm.
I've speculated to myself about that and about. I think there was another thing with uh, a large. I don't know, it was a pleasure boat or something. It was a big boat that something happened to it and it ended up crashing into one of these supports in a bridge. I think it was in Maryland. It's been a year and a half ago or
Oh yeah,
something.
yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what Russia does is they send these messages
Yeah.
um, that and don't take credit for it or announce it or anything like that.
No.
But they say, look, uh, we can do a whole hell of a lot, more
Mhm.
damage than we're doing right now.
Mhm.
You need to like back off and all this stuff about attacking Russia directly. Um, and so I'm not sure whether they're going to ramp that up or whether they're going to end up having to
Well,
strike into Europe or
uh,
what. What are your thoughts on this?
I'll tell you. I'll ask you the question. What do you think happened to Lindsey Graham?
Ah, I think he was killed in a Russian factory and not a Russian factory, in a Ukrainian factory in Kiev. I think he was there a little bit too long,
Hmm.
and uh, and then Ursula von der Leyen made the mistake of following him over there and ended up in a bomb shelter for a while. Uh, I think they'll kill any European dignitaries that come
Mhm.
over there from this point on. That's one of
Well,
the click. Then
here's
what do you think happened to him?
okay. Okay, I'll tell you what. From what I know,
Yeah.
he was at that top secret drone facility. He left, went to America, died the next day. Right after he left, the Russians were able to pinpoint where that refinery, where that munitions plant was,
Mm.
and destroyed it, obliterated it completely, and took out several dozen mid-level Ukrainian military at the same time. Now, how did they know he was there? That's the question.
Yeah.
Did somebody put a transponder on him? If they did, they probably did in the United States. Somebody who is on secretly Russia's side, or maybe the Russians have penetrated uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
some people in D.C. They may have penetrated. It may be more likely that they penetrated. They have a mole inside of Zelensky's inner circle,
That's very likely.
and they were able to put a transponder on him when he landed in Kiev, and then he leaves for that munitions factory. They know where it is, and they bomb it. I
Mm.
don't know. I mean, I don't think we'll ever really know. On the other hand, I was talking to Jim Jeffress about it, and he he didn't think it would benefit the Russians. He said it would benefit the Ukrainians, though, because now poor Lindsey Graham, the great martyr, and they're going to have a new bill in his honor, more sanctions against Russia. I can see that, but I mean, it's plausible. No, it's possible, but it's not plausible.
Yeah,
I
I agree with that.
I, I just because we know that the Ukrainians sacrifice if they did that, then they took out several tens, if not scores, of Ukrainian officials when they destroyed that
Yeah,
munitions.
yeah. That's
So I mean, the Russians are very subtle, or they can be very subtle, you know,
yeah.
and so
I I assumed from the almost from the moment that it happened that the Russians killed him.
yeah, that's what I
Um,
thought.
I don't know for sure, and it's entirely possible that they did, and then something else happened.
Yeah,
Um, but uh, that would be a clear signal to quit shooting at Russia.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
if you're going to, because they've never made bones about killing U.S. personnel who are stationed in Ukraine, who are
right,
advisors and that kind of
right,
thing, CIA or whoever else. They've taken out, especially in Western Ukraine, they've taken out whole like hundreds of people in
yeah.
stations. And
Yeah, yeah, they have. And NATO personnel.
NATO personnel,
Mhm.
exactly. Yeah. Um, so I mean, and it looks like a coincidence, which leads me to believe that maybe it's not. I mean, it's made to look like a coincidence,
Mhm.
but it may just be that the old boy you know keeled over.
Yes.
Something in me can't believe that somebody did it. The question is who.
Well,
Uh, um,
if I could put on my pharmacist hat, I could
yeah,
say that he was 71 years old. I'm just not all that far from that. He did have heart issues, and when you travel extended periods of time on a plane, you can develop an embolism. I mean, it has happened. Okay.
yeah,
Again, it's too coincidental.
yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
putting that out there just to, as a possibility.
I
But
think it was a closed casket funeral too. Uh, and if I can look it up and see. Um, and that would make sense. if if he was in bits and pieces, or if they couldn't find the body or enough of him to send back
Right.
over.
Right.
Um, but regardless, he's one person. It's not. Uh,
Yeah. Well, he was the biggest war hawk on Capitol Hill since John McCain died. I mean, so yeah, uh,
yeah, closed casket.
yeah, oh yeah, it was closed casket.
Yeah, I just
In
want to
fact,
mention.
Gail showed me a video clip of the various dignities going by his dignitaries, excuse me, going by his coffin, and J.D. Vance more or less just tapped twice on it and then walked away. I mean, a very cursory at
Can
best,
you hear me down there?
almost dismissive way. And I'm thinking, well, because J.D. Vance, love him or hate him, he is an America firster. Okay,
Yeah,
and he, whether they can co-opt him like they do everybody else or not, I don't know. Time will tell. But
yeah,
the writing is on the wall regarding globalism and the deep state control of over America or its foreign policy. I just think that it's not going as quickly as I'd like,
yeah,
but nothing ever really does.
yeah. It's still a battle, and I think, and it's dawned on me recently that yeah, Trump is a champion against the deep state, but he's not going to be the one that slays it.
No,
Part of it is going to be from the outside.
yeah,
It's not going to be able to coexist with the Eurasian alliance and the new
right,
the world order that's emerging.
right,
It's going to um, castrate it.
yeah,
Basically,
yeah,
it's not going to be able to survive it. I don't think. Um, it'll take some time though.
yeah.
Uh,
It takes some time, that's for sure.
but in Ukraine, I don't think, besides the strikes into Russia, he hasn't really changed much. He never has liked Zelensky.
No,
Uh, he showed it, at the White House, his contempt for him, saying he's
yeah.
got no cards and all that stuff. And then at the Vatican, where he
Oh
sat him
yeah,
down and tried to explain the facts of life to him.
yeah.
And so I don't think he's going to allow anything let fly that is going to start, anything
Well,
serious than what's going on. Yeah.
it'll destroy his presidency. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what'll happen. You started off with, what grade. I mean, I I will tell you myself, domestically, I'd say it's a B plus. Culturally, I would say it's an A plus. In other words, the Gulf of America, renaming these forts after Confederate generals, standing up and for Americana and his culture, his heritage. When King Charles was over here, I mean, they both talked about the Christian heritage of England and the United States. Trump went even further and he talked about the Anglo-Saxon heritage. And he's not an Anglo-Saxon. He's Scottish on his mother's side, a Highlander, and German on his father's side. But in but there was no pushback on these. I mean, just J.D. Vance talked about Christian values. King Charles talked about Christian values. Trump talked about Christian values. All all within a week of each other. This was about
Yeah.
2 months ago. There was no pushback. Ordinarily, I mean, ordinarily the usual suspects would just be howling at the moon, you know.
Yeah.
So I give him an A plus on that. On the international scale, I would give him a solid A, except for Iran, and Iran is going to push him down to a D minus on that. So
Particular thing.
B
Yeah.
plus, A, and a D. What does that work out to? C, a C plus or B minus?
Was something like
You
that.
know, it's yeah,
Well,
this is
yeah.
totally unnecessary, and so I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, Iran was a major mistake. It was the worst
It
mistake
was a
he
it
made
was
in
a yeah.
presidency, and I believe
Mm.
that Israel dragged him, kicked him, scratching to it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad, I've been praying, and I've said, this for months, that I really want him to find a way out of this damn thing.
Oh yeah,
And it seems like maybe now he's doing it. Um, I'm very wary of the Israelis because I just don't think they can stop
yeah.
given a rival hegemon in the Middle East.
Well,
But the
there,
question is, do you listen to him? How much do you listen to him? What do
yeah.
you do in
Yeah.
response?
Well,
Uh,
that's just it. And the Zionist lobby has to make their own calculus. I mean, if we put boots on the ground, then the Democrats are going to pick up 50 seats. Okay, and then
yeah,
and they will be emboldened to to cut off aid. Okay, to Israel, and as well as impeach Trump and remove him from office.
yeah,
Um, and
yeah,
the the only hope that the Zionist lobby has is that the Republicans maintain control of both houses of Congress, because then they could see a way in which maybe we could put boots on the ground. I don't think it's going to happen, but it definitely won't happen if the Democrats get one or both houses. So
yeah,
you know,
yeah. I think we're done with Iran until after the midterms.
yeah,
That's probably accurate, but I could be wrong, but it's probably
uh,
accurate. The
yeah,
question in Ukraine is going to be right now they're closing in on Slavyansk and Kramatorsk.
uh,
Those are the last two big strongholds, fortified strongholds in the east on the way west to the Dnieper. And beyond that, it's just open country. I mean,
right.
there's nothing to hold them back on the,
I
after that.
I
I don't know how
I
long it's going to
heard
take. Uh,
that the Russians have closed off Odessa, so there's no shipping going out from there, and even they've gone as far north as Nikolaev, which is just north of Odessa, and
correct. Yeah.
and they're choking it off. So
Yeah.
without Odessa, then Ukraine is not viable as
Yeah.
a
Economically, it's
nation
not
state.
viable. A way to export grain, import other. Well, you can import stuff to both. Can't export grain.
Yeah,
Uh,
right.
yeah, it's we're closing in on the end stage. I mean, a lot of people have said similar things over the last few years. But once you close off Odessa, and you have these last two strongholds, even people inside Zelensky's regime, it's getting squirrely over there. People are resigning. People are getting fired.
Yeah.
There are demonstrations in Kiev,
Uh,
which you would not expect since he's a
well,
dictator.
they fired Sirski, who was the supreme commander of the armed
Yeah,
forces, and of course he did not get along with the Minister of Defense before him. I can't remember his name. Was it Fedotov? I cannot remember his name, but
Fyodorov,
they
I
didn't
think.
like each other.
Fedorov.
They fired him, and then a week later they fired Sirski. So I mean, if things are, the Western press talks about how it's only a matter of time before Ukrainian grandmothers march on the Kremlin and take Putin prisoner. You know, if things were that glowingly well, going that well for the Ukrainians, then you wouldn't get rid of your supreme commander. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's let's see, who is? Oh, they got an acting one. It was Fedorov,
Fedorov.
and they got acting one, Evgeny Khmator. Um, now, the other thing is, and I don't want to sound like this is a game changer or anything, but uh, Surovikin is back in the story.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's been reappointed to oversee operations in Ukraine now. He had been sidelined because I don't think he posed a threat or anything like that, but he was at least vocally supportive of Prigozhin during that whole mess.
Uh,
And so they sent him to Africa to do a bunch of stuff, and he cleared house down there, put hair on the wall, and now he's back, and he's saying, "I don't see why any more Russians need to die. Let's just pound
uh,
them to hell and get this over with." That's basically what he's telling people.
yeah.
And they made him, the point man for all this. So
Right. Right.
uh, things
Good.
don't change on a dime.
No.
Uh, but that's another reason why I think we're going to see some more dramatic things happen over there. And everybody's, even Zelensky's resigned to it. He knows he's going on a permanent vacation,
Yeah.
either, out of the country or to the infernal, you know, parts of reality, because he's got to, unless, well, I could be wrong about that. And the reason I say that is because he could be so coked up and drunk on vodka and
Yeah.
cocaine and had
Yeah.
deluded himself continually the whole time. I mean, people do that and they just get deeper and deeper and deeper into
Oh
it.
yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, yeah, it's
And it's possible.
there's no doubt in my mind.
Uh,
Well, anyway,
but he's made arrangements. He has different mansions in different places.
well, my rule of thumb is find out where his family is. If they're living in Kiev in the presidential palace, then he's sitting pretty, or he thinks he's sitting pretty. If they're holed up in Miami, Florida, well, you know,
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Um, so there's not a lot that Trump can do as far as Ukraine is concerned, except he's going to face a challenge, which I hope he's up to. That once they break through Slavyansk Kramatorsk and start open field running towards Kiev,
uh,
if it comes to that, the whole thing, the whole house of cards may collapse before.
yeah.
But once that happens, he's going to face a huge push, and thank God it's not from Israel. Although Israel may have a voice in this, there's some perverse connection between Ukraine and Israel, and
Well,
part of
most
the
most
Ukrainian
Ashkenazi
was,
Jews, I mean,
yeah,
the heartland of the Ashkenazi population of Israel, which is the founding stock of Israel, is
yeah,
from the Pale of Settlement. In other words,
yeah,
Eastern Poland, Belarusia, and Ukraine. That's their heartland. And before it was the Ukraine, it was Khazaria. It was
yeah.
the the Khazar Empire, which was a Turkish
Mhm.
nomadic, semi-nomadic, quasi Mongol people who
Yeah.
converted to Judaism in 800 AD.
Mm.
We're not sure to what extent. We know that their Khan and his nobility converted, but whether the entire population did or not, we don't know. But
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and so you see things going back and forth with
mhm,
Ukraine attacking Iranian ships.
mhm,
The odd stuff really happening.
yeah. Well, I guess all we could do is pray for peace in the world.
Yeah. Um, it's also, I thought we'd take a look. Uh, what I was going to say is he's going to face tremendous pressure to intervene. Trump is, if it looks like Kiev is in danger.
I don't
And
know.
I hope he resists that.
I think, that he'll have pressure, but I just think the American people will give a countervailing pressure. I,
Mm.
I, I don't
The
know.
shininess worn off,
I,
you know?
that's Europe's problem, and I've heard tell that in 2030 that the Europeans are ready to march on Moscow, and they're going to start World War III, and I don't see that. Not with the demographic collapse, and not with 50 million Muslims, raping and pillaging the European heartland. I just don't see it. Now,
Yeah.
if the Europeans start uh, fighting back in and that means deporting or committing genocide, let's just be honest, then maybe it's a different story. I mean, but there's no way that I don't think a European army made up of indigenous Europeans, i.e., white people, is going to march on Moscow, knowing that they've left their women folk behind to get raped and murdered. I'm sorry, I just don't see it.
Yeah, they don't. It's insane the saber rattling and stuff that's going on in Europe.
Yeah,
They don't. It just. It, I guess it doesn't seem absurd in their culture because they're so deluded,
yeah.
but it just seems silly, from a distance that they would actually entertain the notion that they could do anything to Russia.
Well, and again, it's their elites. It's the people, the EU top level. Uh, The average Englishman or Frenchman, I don't think they're on board with this. I mean, I
Yeah,
really don't.
they have
Uh,
bigger problems. Yeah.
you know, yeah,
I think we ought to say something about China as well. Um, at first, Trump was kind of belligerent as far as China is concerned. I
uh,
remember when his first
uh,
term, when he was elected, the first call he took was congratulations from the president of Taiwan, whom he called the president of China.
yeah,
And I thought that was hilarious. That was
yeah,
just open baiting. um, but I don't think he's, in a friendly mood with the Chinese, but I think he's in a business mood with the Chinese
sure.
rather than in a war mode
Uh,
with the Chinese. Uh, and he's leaving the whole war mode to. I think he's left a bad taste in his mouth, being dragged into this crap by the Israelis.
well,
He,
yes, of
I
course.
didn't like war to begin with.
Yeah, no, no, and that's why he was elected, among other things, besides the manifest incompetence of Kamala Harris and Biden before her. I mean, the if anything, Iran has given China time,
Yeah,
and uh, you know, as far as Taiwan is concerned, I know. I read this a couple of years ago. The Pentagon did several war games against China over Taiwan, and 9 out of 10 times the Chinese won.
yeah,
So, you
yeah.
know,
Hex said that, so that even they're not under
yeah,
any collusions in the Department of War.
right.
I don't think they're going to try to push into any military. There may be, some low level pushback back and forth, but I think they're more likely to try to do deals with the
Uh,
Chinese. Uh,
uh,
to me, I don't know what the hubbub is at all.
I don't
China's
either.
huge manufacturing
Uh,
power. It's friends with Russians, and they do a lot of trade. It wants to be the top dog in Southeast Asia. It is the top
it
dog
is.
in
Yeah.
Southeast Asia.
Well,
So, what I mean, there's nothing really to there are people who study history and look at um, ancient Greek history.
mhm.
Say, this is Thucydides' trap.
Yeah, this is yeah, this is Sydney's
Rising,
trip. You know.
whoever's rising is it's necessarily going to cause
Yeah. It,
difficulty with nuclear powers, given the amount of armaments on each side,
and,
and that we're on opposite sides of the world. I don't know that necessarily holds if it
well,
ever.
we've got to attend. We've got to tend to our own knitting here, and again, that's another reason that the Trump was elected. I mean, you go into any major American city, even a mid-level American city, and there are homeless people everywhere. I mean, it's not at Soylent Green levels yet, but
Yeah.
you know, but
If
it
people
is.
don't know what that reference is, you ought to look it up. That's why I
Yeah,
like.
it's free on YouTube. Watch it with Charlton Heston, and it was Edward G. Robinson's last movie, Soylent Green.
Yeah.
Fantastic movie. Anyway, anyway, well,
Um. Yeah, I think we've run by everything. I was gonna take a look at Europe, but we really took a look at Europe, and it didn't look pretty.
yeah.
So, I think that pretty much covers it. Trump's doing all right. I mean, he's come a lot of criticism.
You
I've,
know,
I've criticized him,
sometimes you just have to let things play out. You
yeah,
know,
God's in
and
charge.
and that's what I think is happening in the Middle East. That's what I think is happening in the Ukraine.
Yeah.
Trump said, I could end the war in Ukraine tomorrow." I don't think he can, but I think if he cut off the supply of munitions now, in a month it would be over. Okay,
Yeah.
um, so you know, but if the warmongers and the neocons and the Zionists want to keep on living their delusional dreams, then they're just going to have then there's nothing that can be done about it. I mean, except watch them lose in the long term. Unfortunately, a lot of people will suffer because of that, including yours truly, you, me, whoever, or soldiers and sailors and airmen and Marines. But if these people are hell bent on pursuing their warmongering, then they're just going to have to suffer the consequences. But over the long term, when their illusions come to naught, and I think Trump is letting them do that. Now,
Yeah.
now, at the end of the day, they'll still complain. They'll say, "Well, we just weren't warmongering enough. We had
Mm.
to do it better. We have to do more." Um, but you know,
Yeah, they're just one trick pony, and they just don't.
yeah,
They've invested their lives in this.
yeah,
Like I think about Victoria Nuland. What
oh
else
yeah,
does she have? This
oh
is
yeah,
it, and it'll be
oh,
hard. Uh, Not that
mhm,
I care, but it'll be hard on her in her older years as she realizes that the world that she propagated is
mhm.
gone or dying, if not
Well,
gone.
I'm going to make a prediction right now based on all of this, and if things keep on getting bad, and this is not something I want to say, but I'm just going to say it. Um, America has been a very tolerant, multicultural, multiracial country for a while. I know that black people didn't have it good. I get that. Okay. But we made it better through civil rights and all that. Uh, but American Jews have benefited immensely from America's tolerance and diversity and just freedom of religion and all that. If things don't, if things keep on going south in Iran and in the Ukraine uh, and for the neocons, then you will see actual anti-Semitism in the United States. Not,
Yeah.
this thing what they say, well, there's anti-Semitism now because somebody criticized Israel. No, 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 no. That's not. That's just criticism of Israel. Okay.
Yeah.
That's not anti-Semitism. Okay. Anti-Semitism is when synagogues get burned down and worshipers inside them get burned with them.
Yeah.
Um, this, I mean, you will see things like that, and that's
Yeah.
not something I want to see.
No,
But
I mean, I think it's coming too, just because uh, it's a natural reaction to what's happened in
yeah,
Palestine.
yeah,
It just, if you
yeah,
do that, something's going to happen. So,
yeah,
all
yeah.
right.
All
Well,
right,
that's our roundup as far as Trump and the world is concerned. And if you like what you heard and saw, please hit like and subscribe. And we shall see you next time on Hegemonix.
ciao. All right.